And she laughed. I knew she laughed. She's laughing about assaulting Lexie Hall. Now, this was the incident with her and Caitlin Clark a few weeks ago. Now, this happened on June the 24th. Now, this was Lexie Hall last night. You tell me if anything is wrong with Alyssa Thomas. Tell me.
The line between tough competition and dangerous play has become the biggest topic in basketball, and fans across the league are more frustrated than ever. A heated matchup has now sparked another wave of controversy after a violent collision involving Alyssa Thomas and Lexie Hull left the Indiana Fever guard with a broken nose, sending shockwaves through the arena and igniting fierce debate online. What has people even more upset isn't just the play itself, it's the reaction that followed. Many fans are questioning why the league has remained quiet, with no immediate suspension or major disciplinary action announced. After months of heated conversations surrounding the physical treatment of Caitlin Clark, critics now believe the problem extends far beyond one player. According to many supporters, Indiana's entire roster has repeatedly been on the receiving end of overly physical play, while the league continues to face accusations of inconsistency in how these incidents are handled. As frustration continues to grow, the conversation has shifted inside the Fever locker room as well. Instead of staying silent, veteran guard Sophie Cunningham has added fuel to the fire with a series of public reactions that many fans interpreted as direct shots at Alyssa Thomas. Those posts quickly spread across social media, turning an already controversial moment into one of the biggest talking points in the WNBA. In today's video, we're breaking down the play that sparked the outrage, the latest updates on Lexie Hull's injury, why so many fans are demanding accountability from the league, and how Sophie Cunningham's response has only intensified an already emotional debate surrounding player safety. To understand why this moment has generated so much attention, you have to watch the collision itself. Supporters argue this wasn't an ordinary basketball play or a routine foul during a physical game. Instead, they believe the contact crossed the line, leaving Lexie Hull injured and raising fresh concerns about how aggressively the Indiana Fever are being defended. Whether viewed as an unfortunate basketball play or something more, the incident has reignited league-wide discussions about player protection, officiating, and where the WNBA should draw the line between physical defense and unnecessary contact.
On purpose. In the end, it was the Fever who got the last laugh. The game, the team run 92-89, but this is hard to forget.
Evanescence.
Oh no, man, we ain't looking at no ads, bro. We ain't looking at no ads, bro. Now, the latest drama comes just days after a group of Republican lawmakers waded into the WNBA controversy surrounding Thomas and Clark. 11 Republican members of Congress entered the fray to demand the WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelberg take accountability for the multiple attacks on Caitlin Clark. The congressmen and women who led by U.S. Representative August Plumfunger of Texas sent a letter to the commissioner, which we all know that made headlines, man. And yeah, man, for her to be doing this again is crazy to me. And what's even more crazy is that people is not,
The collision sent Lexie Hull crashing to the floor, where she remained in obvious pain while holding her injured nose. Medical personnel rushed onto the court to check on her as the arena fell silent, and fans watching from home immediately realized the situation was far more serious than an ordinary basketball play. As replays circulated across social media, many viewers were left wondering whether the officials had done enough to address the contact during the game. That reaction quickly turned into a much larger debate. A growing number of fans argued that this was another example of the league failing to consistently protect its biggest stars and key players. Ever since the repeated physical play involving Caitlin Clark became a major talking point, many supporters have believed the WNBA needs to take a stronger stance on player safety. Now, with Lexie Hull suffering a broken nose, those concerns have only become louder, as critics question whether enough is being done to discourage dangerous contact. The frustration reached another level once the game was over, As updates on Hull's injury began to emerge, many Indiana Fever supporters expected a stronger response from the league. Instead, the lack of immediate disciplinary action left fans disappointed and reignited conversations about consistency when it comes to officiating and player discipline. Social media quickly filled with passionate reactions from people demanding greater accountability and better protection for players across the league. Inside the Fever organization, emotions were reportedly running high as everyone focused on Hull's recovery. Among those drawing the most attention was veteran guard Sophie Cunningham, whose social media activity quickly became a major storyline. Rather than ignoring the controversy, Sophie appeared to respond in a way that many fans interpreted as a direct message aimed at Alyssa Thomas, adding even more fuel to an already heated discussion. Her post spread rapidly online, with supporters and critics alike weighing in on what they meant. Some praised Cunningham for standing up for her teammate, while others believed the situation had only intensified an already emotional rivalry. Either way, the incident had clearly grown beyond a single play on the court, becoming one of the most talked about stories in the 1BA as debates over physicality, player safety, and league accountability continued to dominate the conversation.
Cunningham had a message for the Mercury fans after the game. Caitlin Clark can't help but smile. Sophie Cunningham pointing at the crowd. Now, during the game, Sophie Cunningham taking free throws, I believe. She was getting booed. They were pointing at her throughout the game. So Sophie Cunningham, after coming up clutch late in the game, she decided to do some pointing of her own. She decided to do some trolling of her own. Yeah, so yeah, Superman Soph. Supergirl Soph coming through. Here we go. We got Sophie Cunningham at the end of the game, pointing at the crowd. Maisha Hanzalin loving it. But you know what I didn't notice? And somebody pointed out to me? The Indiana Fever coach is always trying to police how their players celebrate. Look at this. Look, Sophie pointed, and then here comes the coach. Get your hand down. Get your hand down. Get your hand down. Get your... These coaches are the most miserable group of has-beens I must have ever come across in my entire life. Just a miserable group of has-beens.
Sophie Cunningham's online response quickly became one of the biggest stories surrounding the incident, adding even more attention to a controversy that was already dominating basketball headlines. What started as a heated on-court collision soon evolved into a league-wide conversation, with fans, media personalities, and former players debating whether the WNBA is doing enough to protect its athletes. Her posts fueled that discussion even further, putting additional pressure on league officials to respond. As the reaction spread across social media, many supporters argued that this wasn't simply about one hard foul or one injured player. Instead, they viewed it as part of a larger pattern involving the physical treatment of the Indiana Fever, particularly after months of debate surrounding Caitlin Clark. Whether those concerns are justified or not, the growing criticism has created even more scrutiny for the league's handling of player safety and disciplinary decisions. Inside the Indiana Fever organization, emotions were understandably running high following LEXIE Hull's injury. Reports and post-game interviews reflected a team frustrated by the outcome and focused on supporting their teammate. Head coach Stephanie White was asked about the physical nature of the game, while players emphasized the importance of sticking together during a difficult moment. At the same time, fans began wondering whether the Fever would take a stronger stance moving forward. Many believed the organization should push harder for greater accountability, while others argued the focus needed to remain on basketball and ensuring players were protected through consistent officiating. The incident sparked passionate debate across every major platform, with opinions divided on what the league's next step should be. The controversy has now grown far beyond a single game. Television coverage, sports talk shows, podcasts, and social media continue to revisit the collision, keeping the conversation alive long after the final buzzer. Regardless of where fans stand, one thing is clear: the spotlight on player safety, officiating consistency, and league accountability has never been brighter, and every future decision will be closely watched by players, teams, and supporters throughout the WNBA.
Topper goes up for a shot, and Michaela Timpson pins this ball to the backboard. Folks, look at that. Boom. Pinned it to the backboard. Come on. Me and her at the backboard. You know what I compared this to? Pinning a layup off the glass is the WNBA equivalent of seeing Haley's Comet. Folks, last night we saw Haley. Well, not we. I wasn't watching. This is the Haley's Comet play of the WNBA. It's like seeing a shooting star. It's crazy work. And then you have dumb old WNBA fans. This is how foolish old WNBA fans. This is how low IQ they are. This is how slow they are. Shout out to CJ So Foolish. This is how slow they're comparing pinning the ball to the backboard, pinning it to the glass. They're comparing that to this weak ass block from Gabby Williams, chasing Courtney Vandersloot from behind and just swatting it off the glass. Folks, a play like that you see, as soon as you're fifth grade, sixth grade, you see blocks like that. Pinning it off the glass, you only see when players are athletic enough to get up there and stay up there. Wow. Let's take a look at Stephanie White. Oh, shit. Locker room cam after our big-time dub against the Mercury. Kelsey Mitchell with the go-ahead basket. Stephanie White, as soon as Kelsey Mitchell hit that go-ahead basket, Stephanie White became erect. I shit you not. I shit you not. Kelsey Mitchell makes that go-ahead basket. Stephanie White becomes erect on the sidelines. And this is her excitement spilling over into the locker room.
Let's go!
This controversy has grown into something much bigger than a single game or one controversial collision. What began as a debate over a physical play has now expanded into a broader conversation about player safety, officiating standards, and how the WNBA responds when its biggest stars and key contributors are involved in dangerous situations. Across the league, fans, analysts, and former players continue to weigh in, making it one of the most discussed storylines of the season. For many Indiana Fever supporters, this moment represents a turning point. After months of conversations surrounding the physical treatment of Caitlin Clark and now LEXIE Hull's injury, they believe the league must take stronger action to ensure player safety. Whether that means stricter officiating, harsher discipline, or clearer standards for physical play, the demand for greater consistency has become impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, players like Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and the rest of the Fever roster have remained united in supporting one another through the growing controversy. Their willingness to stand behind teammates has become a major talking point, with many fans praising the team's chemistry and resilience as they continue to navigate one of the most emotional stretches of the season. The discussion is far from over.
Boston comes off of being out with a injury to playing fucking 38 minutes. I don't think Caitlin Clark's ever played 38 minutes in her WNBA career. I don't. Cece, it's been a fun 5 to 6 years watched you play basketball. Never thought I would rather watch a women's basketball game than many other sports. That was because of you and how you made the games exciting. It's over now. Too many people, lesbian, jealous people, want to destroy you. I don't see things changing in the W unless something crazy is uncovered or Congress does actually investigate. If you are unwilling, and I know and appreciate your morals and integrity, to stand up and actually fight back to these people, it's going to only get worse for you and your career. We are here for you and will always have your back. Damn. Sophie Cunningham trolling the Phoenix Mercury. Michaela Timpson with the greatest defensive play in WNBA history, and she's only in her second year. That shows how much of an athletic freak Michaela Timpson is and how subpar the WNBA has been. And then we have Stephanie White becoming erect watching Kelsey Mitchell go-ahead shot, comparing it to Caitlin Clark's game winner.
Every statement, every officiating decision, and every future matchup involving the Fever will likely be examined more closely than ever before. The spotlight is now firmly on the league, and many fans are waiting to see whether this incident becomes a catalyst for meaningful changes in player protection and officiating consistency, or simply another chapter in an ongoing debate that refuses to fade away. The biggest question now is what happens next. Will league officials and team leadership take stronger steps to address the growing concerns surrounding player safety, or will this controversy continue to fuel even more debate throughout the season? With emotions running high and fans demanding answers, every decision from this point forward will be under intense scrutiny. One thing is certain, the basketball world is paying close attention. Every statement, every disciplinary ruling, and every matchup involving the Indiana Fever will be watched more closely than ever as this story continues to unfold. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want the latest updates on the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, LEXIE Hull, Sophie Cunningham, and the biggest stories happening around the 1BA, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and don't miss our next video. This conversation is far from over, and we'll be here to cover every major development as it happens.